Welcome to the question of the day. Today's question comes from Jake in the Dallas, Texas area. My follow up seems flat. How can I make it better? Well, follow up is a great tool. I mean, it's the tool that separates the good from the great, right? Like the good can sell in the moment, and that's what you want is you want that one trip close. But the follow up, that's the gravy on top. That's what's going to add another 10% to what you're selling. And so you do want to have strong follow up. Now, in regard to this question of like why it seems flat, I guess I don't know. I haven't ridden along with you, right? Like that's what I would do if I was coming out to your company. First thing I would do is I'd ride along. I'd sit in on some calls. I'd listen. I'd see what's working. I'd see where the opportunities are at. That would allow us to get a little bit more prescriptive. But without that, I guess I would say there's one thing that I do see most people struggle with in regard to follow up. And that is they don't have like a good plan or a good reason. So I'll ride along with salespeople in the field. And when we get done, and if it didn't sell, I'll usually ask the question like, well, what's next? What's the next step? And usually I get some kind of, I don't know, right? So like we're not even thinking about when we should be following up or how often we should be following up. And and I think most people wait too long to follow up. I would recommend you have about a 24 to 72 hour window. That customer is interested right now. That's why they had you out. They were interested in moving forward. And so you want to follow up well that's still hot, right? The longer you go, the colder it's going to get. But the problem is people say, well, I don't want to follow up the next day because that seems too pushy. If you have a good reason, though, you can follow up the next day and it won't seem pushy. And so that I think is the biggest opportunity that I see with almost everybody that I ride along with in regard to follow up is they don't have a good reason. I also did this in my own sales career and I learned it the hard way. So my first sales job, I sold used Subarus. That was my first sales job. I was the used car salesman. Like and proud of it. Honestly, it was a great company and I got a lot of great experiences from it. But I remember I had left a career in teaching and started selling and I wasn't even sure like is this sales thing for me, let alone like selling used cars. And so I was just getting my feet wet. And I remember one day I was making my follow-up calls and my manager, he walked by. And my manager now he definitely was a used car manager, right? Like whatever picture you're picturing in your head right now of a used Subaru sales manager, like that's the guy I'm talking about here, right? And so my used car manager, he walked by as I was doing my follow-up one day and he sits down next to me as I'm wrapping up a voicemail that I'm leaving and he says, God, you suck at follow-up. I was like, oh my God, like, what do you mean? Right? Like all these things are flashing through my head. Like I just left my teaching career. I wasn't even sure about this. And now you're telling me I suck. And like, maybe I made the wrong choice. Like all these things running through my head. And he says, he gave me the best advice ever though. He said, you don't have a good reason to call your customers. Not a good customer reason, something that the customer cares about. And he was right. If you listen to my follow-up calls, they sounded something like, hey, this is Chris. Just wanted to see if you had any more questions. Or, hey, this is Chris. Just wanted to see if you wanted to schedule a second test drive. Like those were all my reasons. They were all reasons to sell. They were all mine, not the customers. The customer didn't care about those reasons. And so he challenged me. He said, when you make a call, you have to have a good reason, some kind of new information, something that betters them, something that adds value to them, something that's going to make them go, oh, thanks for letting me know. Because that's what happens, right? Like we all do that. When we answer a phone call, if we don't know the number or who's calling, there's that hesitancy of like, what's this going to be? Is this somebody trying to sell me some crap? Or is this going to be valuable information, right? And so if you have that good reason, something that is valuable to them, something that betters the situation, that's going to make it the latter. You're going to be a valuable. It's going to be a thanks for letting me know. And so I would say you have to have that good reason. So the homework for you, this is what my manager did to me. He said, make a reason, come up with all the reasons, make a list of all the reasons you could call a customer that would be valuable to them. And I would encourage you, anybody who's listening, to do the exact same thing. Create a list of all the reasons that would be customer reasons, that would be benefits to the customer. Now, I'll give you a couple examples just to get you started. So I'll start with some poor examples. Some poor examples would be like, hey, I just wanted to see if you had more questions. That would be a poor example. That's what every salesperson says. And so we're conditioned that when we get that call, we know they're trying to just get their foot back in and sell us something, right? If I had questions, I would have called you. Like that's the bottom line. If I, as a customer, would have had questions, I would have called you already. So that's a poor reason, right? That's not a good customer reason. Another poor example. Well, you seemed interested, so I just wanted to follow up. Um, that one is a poor example because I think of that one like dating. Like I think when I was trying to date my wife and she wasn't too sure about me yet, if I would have called her and said something like, well, you seemed interested, so do you want a second date? Or like that probably wouldn't have led to a second date. So that's probably not a good reason to call. Now, there's a couple other things within those poor examples that I'll call out too, like words like justification words like just or kinda. Think about those words. They minimize whatever message comes after them, and you don't need them. Just following up, like it minimizes whatever comes out of it. Okay. Hey, I'm following up. That would be stronger. But so here's one good example. I'll give you one good example. I don't want to give you the whole list. I want you to create the list. But here's one good example. Any kind of promo or marketing campaign you have going on right now, any kind of special, right? Those are always good things to pass along to the customer. It's new information, something you haven't told them yet, something that betters their situation. We don't know which one they're going to see value in. And so I just want to pass along and let them know. So think of that like if you were going out for a night of beverages, right? You're out with friends, you're getting your drink of choice, whatever that drink of choice is. Let's say you're a Coors Light person and you go out. And the bartender, they have Miller Lights on special, 2 for 1s. Okay. Now you don't drink Miller Light, you drink Coors Light, but you'd still want to know that special, right? Like if that bartender came over and said, hey, just to let you know, we have Miller Light on special, 2 for 1. You'd be okay with them passing along that information. You'd say, oh, thanks for letting me know. And you may make the choice to like, 2 for 1s. I'm going to drink Miller Lite tonight. Or you're going to stick with your Coors Light, but at least you knew what the special was, right? You're informed and now you can make a decision. So a good reason, a customer reason to follow up would be to let them know about any promos or marketing campaigns, something like that. Now, even if a customer said, don't call me, I'll call you, having a good reason allows you to call them the next day because you can lead in with that. You can address it right up front and you can say, hey, I know you said you were going to call me, but I wanted to let you know we have a new promo that came out today, blah, blah, blah. Wanted to make sure you were the first one that knew about it. They're going to say, yeah, thanks for letting me know. So that's the thing. We have to understand follow up here. Follow up is not to close them down. My job is not to get them back on the phone and just close them down. My job is to nudge that conversation forward again because that's our job in sales is just to keep it moving forward. This isn't dead. It just stopped. That's what happened. So now my job is to nudge it forward again. And through those follow-up calls, I got to figure out how do I nudge it forward again? And if you call with a good customer reason, one of two things is going to happen. One is going to be they're going to say, thanks for letting me know. That's worst case scenario. Thanks for letting me know. We just maintained, we didn't do any damage, we didn't move it forward, but they're going to say, thanks for letting me know. But the other opportunity is they may say, hey, thanks for letting me know. Actually, while I got you on the phone, I had another question. And now the conversation is started again. We're moving forward again. So, my advice, if your follow up seems flat, do you have a good customer reason, something that is new information, something that adds value? Do you have that good customer reason that you're leading with on your follow up calls? So, if you have a question, reach out to me either on social media or email. Both will be listed in the show description below, and let's get them answered. Or if you're a Nexstar member, shoot me an email and let's get connected for a one on one. Let's get a call scheduled so we can discuss your situation in a customized approach. I'm Coach Chris. See you tomorrow.